Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Friday morning warm-up, number 123, which will be on YouTube, of course, probably from tomorrow morning. If you want to watch any of this again, or send on a link to anybody else, you're always welcome to do that. We're going to be looking at intervals today, which is basically the unit of all music. Apart from rhythmic music, all melodies are made up of intervals, and we're going to just start exploring intervals, just some of them. There are so many of them. But we're going to first of all get on with our little bit of clapping just to physically warm us up, especially if you're one of those people who's decided not to put the heating on because you saw a bit of sunshine outside. So we'll get onto the screen. Oh, can't find it. There it is. The clap session. And we're going to just do the habanero rhythm again, which I mentioned looked at last week. We're going to do habanero number 2 today. So just the second bar. We're going to loop the second bar. I've forgotten how I crossed out the left-hand bar. There's probably a way. Oh, there we go. I don't want you doing the wrong one. Yeah, don't do that one. Not today. Right, we're going to do habanero number 2. And sorry, just get rid of this little pointer. Ooh, I don't know how to use this, but perhaps I'll press that. There we go. Okay, this is a rhythm which is used in. Basically, it came from Africa, like a lot of our basic rhythms came from originally 200 or 300 years ago. Found its way across to the Americas, usually via the slave trade, which has had a huge influence on the rhythmic music that we play. This particular one found its way to Cuba, or it evolved in Cuba into some of their early dance music, contradanza, and so on. And it's a rhythm you'll recognise. So let me just get the metronome going at a walking pace. I think it's fairly straightforward, so you should be able to tap your feet at the same time or walk along. And if you're not sure of the reading it, just follow me after 4. Do this for about a minute. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. Ole. Yes, as soon as I started playing, I was starting to think of tango rhythms, probably a little bit fast for a tango. But I've just got to check something on my sound. Well, yeah, no, that's okay. Right, back to where we were. Yes, the habanero. And we'll come back to that next week and just review both those habanero rhythms. And I don't know if any of you listened to Habanera by Ravel or Carmen's Bizet, but they're good examples of these rhythms being used in, both classical pieces of music. Okie dokie, if you'd like to get hold of your instrument, and we'll start with a little bit of a warm-up on the key note, which is concert G. So A for the B flat instruments and E for the altos, the E flat instruments. Just make sure you're in tune, he says to himself. Yep, so okay, we're just going to twang that for a minute and you can tune up or just blow a bit of air through. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's probably at that point that anyone watching this on YouTube will probably switch off. If that's all they're getting for a minute, me twanging a G. But okay, good. Let's go on to the chromatic scale now. And so we're going to start on concert G, just the usual, starting at the usual 80 beats per minute, going up the octave and straight down again. It did occur to me, certainly in classical music, they tend to not say beats per minute. They tend to talk about the, is it allegro or presto? So I thought I'd look that up because it's something I'm not that familiar with. And so 80 beats per minute, andante. Now, andante covers a range of BPMs when you look at it scientifically, from below 80 to up to 100 almost. But it's a way of describing an approximate sort of feel and speed. So let's do this andante, more specifically 80 beats per minute. Here we go. Chromatic scale up and down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do that again, one more time. 2, 3, 4. Now down. Good. Now that's the lower end of andante. Which actually means at a walking pace, so that's quite reasonable. Let's go to the upper end of andante, so we're going up to about 100 now. And same scale, so here we go, chromatic scale, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. All right, we're going to go up to about 130, and for the next one. And I'm now going to look up. Some of you may know this. I'm going to look up what speed that is. Oh, allegro. Right. So going into allegro. Little Austin allegro. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now a little bit faster. If we went up to 150, I look up on my list. Well, there's one called molto allegro, which I suppose just means a bit faster. Yeah, seems to be molto allegro this one. Oh no, we're still in the upper end of allegro. So here we go, upper end of allegro. Good example coming up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, I'll do one more. We sometimes go up to about 180, so let's go for that one. And 180 is presto. Goodness me. All right, so we're doing a bit of presto now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go, good. Right, we'll leave it at that. 180 beats per minute though, which is presto and very fast. Above that you've got prestissimo. I'm not sure what you'd do above that though, because well, it's just everything above 200 beats per minute. I'm sure there's a lot of music above that speed, but okay. Anyway, that's I found that interesting, even if you didn't. Ha, good. What do we call these tempos? Let's move on now to the exercise sheet. So we're looking at intervals, and we're just going to play some intervals. We'll start with the major scale, of course, as we always do. The intervals we're going to be looking at today, we're in the key of G major scale, and we're looking at the intervals from that root note, concert G, up to the second note, up to the third, up to the fourth. So always starting on the root note and then looking at what the interval is up to the next note in the scale. And what you'll find in a major scale is that they are all major intervals. So it's a major second, a major third, a perfect fourth and a perfect fifth, which is quite common, but then a major sixth and a major seventh as well. So they're all major intervals, and this is obviously why a major scale sounds like a major scale, because there are no minor intervals starting on the root note. So we're just going to be looking at major and perfect intervals today. There are minor intervals and there are descending intervals as well, which we're not looking at, but we're just going to look at major intervals. And one of the reasons for doing this is to get familiar with what an interval sounds like. Now it's useful, you can get away with that knowing it, but it's useful to be able to recognize intervals when you hear them. When you hear a piece of music, and you might be trying to work it out, or you might like to play it yourself, and to start to recognize, oh, that's the sound of a major second or a major third. And it just gives you a little bit more of an insight into that piece of music. If you're a singer, recognizing intervals is very important. Somebody might casually say, oh, the verse starts a major third above the chorus. And if you understand that interval and you can just jump up to that major third, then you're straight away onto the right note when it comes to singing the next part. So all melodies are made up of just a sequence of intervals, effectively. The other place you see intervals, which we're not looking at today, is when intervals are played at the same time. So a major third sounds like this, but played together sounds like that. And recognizing two notes at the same time is actually a little bit harder, as we'll see one day when we get around to doing that side of things, if we do. Okay, let's just start with the major scale though. So we're just going to do the G major scale, just the top line, first two bars. So we're just literally going to play the G major scale, concert G major, up and down. And we're going to do it, yes, we're going to do it at adagietto speed, which is slightly slower than andante. So here we go at adagietto. G major scale, first two bars. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Let's do that again. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Now we're just doing this scale just to warm up and so that we know what notes we're talking about when we come to do the intervals. But here we go, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Okay, that's the major scale, up and down, rising and falling, as some people say, or ascending and descending. Let's do the opposite now. Let's do descending followed by ascending. So there's bars 3 and 4 on your sheet, on the top line. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the basic scale that we're concentrating on today. Concert G major. Now the first interval, strictly speaking, the first interval in a major scale is unison. That's just the same note repeated. Da da da. So we'll skip that one. I think you'll recognise that one. And we'll go on to the first of our intervals, which is a major second, which is a rise of 2 semitones. A rise of 1 semitone will be a minor second. So a rise of 2 semitones. So if the first note is G, concert G, the next note will be A, which is the first note. Next is the next note in the scale. So we're just playing that first bar. So it'll be after 4, 2 beats of each note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now it's nice and simple, and you can hear it, but would you recognize that if you heard it? If you heard somebody singing or playing that interval? And it's not that straightforward, actually. Sounds like a well recognizable interval, but would you recognize it? Now, one of the ways of learning a interval and helping you recognize it is by attributing it to a particular well-known tune, one that you know. And Happy Birthday, the first rising interval on that is a major second, which is why I've got that shown on the next 2 bars. So when you hear dun dun, and you think, oh, is that Happy Birthday? Happy Birthday. Oh, yes. Then that's a key into being able to recognise this interval. So we're going to go through each of the intervals and attribute a little tune to them. You can see them on the chart. So, okay, let's play the next 2 bars then. Happy Birthday. It's in 3/4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, dun 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 dun. Yeah, here we go. So after 2, 1, 2. Yeah, so it's that rising interval is the major second. Let's do that. So link in your mind Happy Birthday major second. Okay, a major in the army called second is having a birthday. 1 after 2. 1, 2. Okay, good. And of course the second interval coming down is a descending major second, but that's not what we're looking at. Right, on to the all-important major third. And I say all-important because a major scale is a major scale because it's got a major third in it. So the interval between the root note and the third note, if it's a major third, which is 2 tones or 4 semitones, if that's a major third, it's a major scale. If it's a minor third, it's a minor scale. That's really the most basic way of recognizing a major or a minor scale. So let's play the bar 8 on this sheet where it says major third. After 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Think of the notes you're actually playing as well. Start to link that in with the idea of the third. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's a definite consonant interval, as they say. And the well-known tune, I've tried to pick tunes that everyone would know. You might have others. Which starts on that interval is While Shepherds Watch Their Flocks, or Wash Their Socks. So let's play that. So the next 2 bars, we'll just play that little phrase there. But the first interval is a major third. So this will be after 3 because of the position of that first note. 1, 2, 3. Yep. So when you hear while share major third, 1, 2, 3. Oh, oops, wrong note there. Yes, you might be wondering what the next note is. Interestingly, it's the perfect fourth, which is coming next. Let's just play that again. While shepherds watch their flocks, 1, 2, 3. Good. So that's our major third, and while shepherds watch their flocks is our key to recognizing that. Moving on to the next line, we've got the perfect fourth. Now, this isn't known as a major interval, it's known as a perfect interval. And this is because it's considered, with the perfect fifth and the octave, they're the three perfect intervals in the sense that they sound absolutely perfect together. That's the simplest way of putting it. And now this is just a little bit of science here. I know that might switch some of you off, but if you have a note, this might be something you want to explore as well. If you have a note which is 440 hertz, and you'll notice that your tuning device might say this number on it, that's actually our current frequency of the note A. So A is 440 hertz. And that's the tuning note for orchestras, for example, and other instruments. Now, an E, which is a fifth above, we're just jumping to fifth for a little bit because it's connected, is 1.5 times higher than a fourth. And without going into the whole Pythagorean reason for why that is, because it's only 1.5 times, a nice simple ratio, the two notes will sound good together, the root note and the fifth, because the frequencies are a simple ratio. Just one, the fifth is 1.5 times higher than the fourth. Now, in equal temperament, which is how we tune our instruments, all the notes are equally spaced. It actually turns out that it's not quite 1.5 times. So if you do tune your instrument by fifths, or for that matter fourths, which is just an inverted fifth, then it won't be exactly in tune with what your ear might tell you. It's a very slight difference. And all I'm saying here is, if you are interested in why our tuning is never quite in tune, then look up equal temperament and read all about it. And you will find that barbershop singers in quartets and so on, they actually sing to a slightly different tuning to what we're playing. And it's not an excuse. They do it deliberately. Right. Okay, I'm doing a lot of talking today, as always. A perfect fourth then. It's an inverse of a perfect fifth. I'll talk about that in a second as well. Let's do the perfect fourth. So this is an interval of a fourth. Let's just play it first of all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And our recognisable tune for that is Here Comes the Bride. Nice easy one. So let's play that. Next line, next bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. So every time you hear Here Comes the Bride, every time you go to a wedding, you'll say, oh, that's a perfect fourth. And someone will say, shut up. Okay. Let's go on to the perfect fifth now. And actually, Here Comes the Bride. The next note in the tune is the perfect fifth. And it's also the start of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So let's play the perfect fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is another perfect interval. You can tell they're not quite in tune. That might just be my guitar, but they're not quite in a natural fifth. It's a perfect fifth. And let's play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I didn't count that incorrectly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's the sound of the perfect fifth. I think that is actually my guitar slightly out of tune. But okay, moving on to the major sixth now. We're back into not perfect intervals but major ones. And This is a very nice harmonic interval. A lot of harmonies are sung in sixths. A major sixth is an inverse of a minor third. I think as I'm doing a lot of talking, I won't explain that just yet. Maybe leave it for another time. Let's play the major sixth. So this will be from concert G up to the E. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And I think you'd all know the song My Way, sung by Frank Sinatra, written by Paul Anka, or at least the words were. And that does start on a major sixth. So not so many tunes start on this. Obviously it's a big jump. It's not an easy interval for a singer. But okay, let's play the next 3 bars. So it'll be after 4, My Way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, I fumbled a note there. Let's do that again. After 4, with a quick pickup into the next bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now the end is in. Yeah, good. Okay, My Way. That's an opening major sixth melody note interval. Only a couple more to go in the major scale. There are other intervals, of course, all the minor intervals, diminished intervals, descending intervals, but we won't have time to do those today. Just doing the majors in the major scale. The major seventh, quite a rare one, because it's a very difficult leap to sing, or even to play for that matter. And the major seventh is only a semitone below the octave. So it's it's a dissonant interval when you hear them together. And the only example I could find was Take On Me by Aha, if you know that song. So it's not perhaps the most recognisable one, but have a listen to Take On Me by Aha. And you'll hear him singing this interval at the beginning. He's an amazing singer. Let's just play the major seventh interval, G up to F sharp, concert. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And now the actual Take On Me melody line itself, just 3 notes. Effectively, it just plays the major seventh, then resolves to the tonic over those 3 notes. So let's just play that. Take On Me. 1, 2, 3, 4. You see how it resolves there? Tension release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Take on me. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. And then finally the octave, which is obviously a perfect interval because it's the same note. So let's just play the octave. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And probably the most famous tune to start on that interval is Over the Rainbow, Somewhere, where Judy Garland sings Somewhere. I won't attempt it. So the next 2 bars, Over the Rainbow, after 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So the 7 intervals there of the 7 notes in the major scale, starting on the root up to the actual note, and some ways of recognizing them, little mnemonics, musical mnemonics, perhaps we can call them. Let's move on now to the exercise number 1, which is just playing through those intervals, ascending. So we're just going to go start on the root note each time, go up, gradually work our way up the scale back to the root note. You'll get the pattern. So I think we'll put the metronome on Andante. Here we go. So exercise number 1, just the 4 bars, just one line. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so just working its way through the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and the octave. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have said all of this is are examples worth singing. Certainly when you're doing the earlier bit, perhaps I should have reminded you to do that, is actually to sing those intervals as well as play them on your instrument. Sing them first, then play them. In your mind, your brain will connect the two and you'll get better at recognizing them and being able to sing them. Okay, look, one more time on exercise number 1. 1, 2, you can sing this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dun, 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 dun. Good. Okay, let's just finish off with the descending intervals, just to take completeness really. We've really been looking at ascending intervals today, but just to finish off with descending, because one day we might do this exercise but all on descending intervals, so it's a little taster. So on the last line, just reverse. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's just going in reverse really, octave, then the 7th, then the 6th, and the 5th in a descending fashion. One more time, we'll just do it once more, then we'll finish off with the strumming. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Dun, 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 dun. And a little one on the end to finish. Good. Well, that's just a really tip of the iceberg exploration of intervals, which are of course the unit of all melodies. So good. Okay, let's we just need to finish off because time's moving on as it always does, and I'm always trying to squeeze probably too much into each session. But let's go on to the chord sequence bit, and I just put up a certainly not a random chord sequence, but just 4 chords that follow a nice sequence, and this is your opportunity to perhaps just do some improvising in the key of today. So concert G. If you just want to improvise, make up some melodies, or just strum along. This is known as a 1-6-2-5 chord progression. If you look at the intervals of the chords, 1, 6, 2, 5, back to 1. So, okay, here we go. 1, just for a minute. Where's my metronome? Not my metronome, my timer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to the beginning. Practice your chord tones if you want. Or arpeggios. One more time. Here we go. Finish on the tonic. And there we go, 1625. Good-o. Right, well, let's we'll finish there, and let me take that off the screen. And oh, you're all still there. Good. Oh, and Ray's back.
Yes, I don't know what happened to me. I was going again now.
Oh, it's still flashing away. Still flashing away. Never mind. Anyway, nice to see you all, and